Larry Goldberg here, the head of accessibility for Verizon Media, and perhaps more important, a longtime fan and friend of TDI. We'll talk a little bit today about a subject I think so many of us are interested in, concerned about, and that is automatic speech recognition captioning with the subtitle, Better Than Nothing, or Is It? Uh, as I said, I'm the head of accessibility for Verizon Media. I met many of you when I was head of the Caption Center at WGBH and the National Center for Accessible Media. So I'll talk a little bit about that background as well. To describe myself, I'm a white male with a white beard and let's just say over 60 years old. My background a little bit, as I said, I come from WGBH where so much of media access began, originally at the Caption Center, and then when we united with Descriptive Video Service there, formed the Media Access Group. And then in the early 90s, created the National Center for Accessible Media when we began to realize that media was rapidly changing into the digital world and we needed to do some R&D and policy development around media and accessibility. That was from 1985 to 2014, just 7 short years ago. I left WGBH to join Yahoo, which then became Verizon Media, and which, if you read the news, will again become Yahoo this coming fall. And in the 7 years there, I've had a lot of opportunities to do some interesting work, which I'll talk about in a moment. I come to you today as someone who has been a caption creator, a manager of caption services, both live and video on demand or pre-produced. I've sold captions at the Caption Center and I've bought them while at Yahoo and Verizon Media. I'm very involved in making policy, legislation standards, and guidelines, but really most importantly, I'm a caption user. I began losing my hearing maybe about 10 years ago, and I rely heavily on captions now in all environments. So I come to you with all of those perspectives. A little bit on my background. When I say policy, I was really honored and pleased to be able to work with many in the community on the TV Decoder Circuitry Act back in 1990. 1996, the Telecommunications Act rewrite, which required captions on almost every television broadcast. And more recently, the 21st Century Communications and Video Accessibility Act, which has had such a major effect on all of our lives. The standards I've worked on include time text formats for online media, web content accessibility guidelines from the World Wide Web Consortium, and how video players respond to user requests and requirements, which I hope you've all investigated in your settings on any kind of video player you use on your computer, on your mobile device, even in your set-top boxes. In terms of innovation, I've really had a great opportunity to work on everything from local news, real-time captioning, to movie theater captioning through the Rear Window captioning system you may remember, and certainly the Internet Captioning Forum, which then launched captioning pervasively across online services. More recently, very excited to be working on virtual reality accessibility, and captioning is a very important part of that. For a very brief history of captioning, just in case there's some younger folks in the audience, from 1971, where there was really little to no captioning on television, to today, 2021, we went from pretty much 0 to 100% in 50 years, starting with linear analog television, going to the web today. When I say 100%, in this case, I'm particularly talking about what we're doing at Verizon Media, which I'll tell you about in a moment. In terms of video conferencing, part of what we're doing today and what we've been locked into for the past year and a half, 2 years, we went from 0, pretty much no available captioning on video conferencing platforms, to what I'll call meh today. We've got captions and they work in certain ways, in certain environments, but that's really a big part of the evolution that's been happening rapidly over the past few years. And certainly the issue of automatic speech recognition captioning. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I think probably with the panels after I'm done, we'll be talking about as well. What we're talking about for ASR is comprehensible captioning. Captioning that really works, that really explains content and enables everyone to be on a level playing field. We used to say that Using ASR for closed captioning was 10 years away and will always be 10 years away. But I'm a convert. I don't believe that's still true, but as I'll explain, I don't think we're quite ready for prime time yet either. Going back to the history I mentioned at WGBH, for that great trivia question that was once on Jeopardy, the first caption TV program that was open caption was in 1972, Julia Child's French Chef, followed very shortly thereafter by the captioned ABC Evening News. As fast as live captioning could happen those days was 6-hour turnaround between the time ABC aired the news program and when PBS rebroadcast it with captions on the ABC network. That was the world of open captioning. And then finally, in 1980, closed captioning was finally rolled out with the efforts of PBS and ABC and the federal government. And eventually the National Captioning Institute came to be under those new technologies. I have a picture here of Archie and Edith Bunker with the caption that says, "Those were the days," and they sure were. And a picture of the original telecaption decoder device that many of us had to plug into our TV sets. Didn't even have a remote control back then. There were knobs you had to get up and turn. I have a picture also of Rear Window captioning and the icon for that, which was a piece of film with captions CC symbol. And that was a reflective device that were installed in certain movie theaters around the country, particularly around Disney World, Disneyland, eventually subsumed by wireless and personal technologies, wearables, and seat displays. But what really changed our world quite a bit was the 21st Century Communications and Video Accessibility Act in 2010. I have a picture of the senator from Massachusetts. At the time the act was passed, he was a congressman, Ed Markey. Really a great hero to me and to many of us who've helped advocate for so many of the advances we've had, particularly around captioning. President Obama signed that law in 2010. Many of you may have been there at the White House back in October 8th when President Obama signed it. And then subsequently, the Federal Communications Commission put together a committee. I was co-chair on the Video Programming Accessibility Committee and passed the regulations that affected us even today. And there is an open proceeding right now to think about what kind of changes should come to the CVAA now that so much time has passed and rapid changes in our digital technology. Let me talk a little bit about what's happening today at Verizon Media. We are captioning all of our online streams on all of our platforms, certainly desktop and mobile. I have a picture here on screen of Yahoo Finance, which is deeply engaged in captioning their live bell-to-bell coverage. That's 8 hours a day. And all of their video on demand is available on the Yahoo Finance app and website. Also showing in this picture the settings that you can adjust on every video player that the FCC requires, your style, your size, your color, your font. And it happens to be that our video player, you can actually adjust the positioning as well, the top of the screen or the bottom. And that's true on your mobile device as well. The big news just earlier this year, just back in March, was that Verizon Media committed to captioning 100% of every video on every platform. And we were so happy to be able to do that. And the unique part of that, which I'll talk about, is that's not only the media that we create, it's all the media and all the video that we license from so many partners. In addition to that, at the time, we also donated $5 million to a number of organizations to have free advertising on our platforms. And that was really a great opportunity as well. So when I talk about our own media, I'm talking about Yahoo Finance and Yahoo Sports, Yahoo News, AOL, Makers, TechCrunch, and Gadget. So much of our own media that we create, that we also caption using both live and video on demand services. But it's the fact that we actually caption all of our partners' media as well. And that, I've got a long list on screen here, everything from ABC, network, and local to Vogue. Now, some of these partners actually provide captions to us, and we are working to get a lot more of the captions that they already produce up and online. But any partner that doesn't happen to have captions available today, we actually, with our own funds and our own efforts, caption all of those uh, partners' videos as well. And we're pretty proud of the fact that even though it's not required by the FCC, we're captioning all of this content from so many of our video partners. Now, let's talk a little bit about caption quality. As Peter Drucker, a well-known business analyst, once said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And from this point on, everything I'm going to say is my own personal point of view and my own opinions, not necessarily something that Verizon Media or Yahoo has weighed or measured. But the issues really go back to back in 2010, the WGBH National Center for Accessible Media created the Caption Accuracy Metrics Project with Nuance Communications, recently bought by Microsoft. And we looked at how you can measure the quality of captions and created a new measure called weighted word error rate. Traditional measurements of speech to text translation only talked about word error rate without weighting the importance of the errors and how severe some errors are and how minor some others are. And we launched that project, still available. The results are still available online. In 2014, when the FCC was looking into requiring caption quality, we approached them and said, we have a way of actually measuring that automatically. At the time, the FCC wasn't comfortable creating metrics. They thought it might be too burdensome. So they came out with requirements for accuracy without necessarily looking at the nuances, as pun intended, of what makes for a bad error and what makes for a minor error. Now, here we are today. Automatic speech recognition is on the rise. We are all looking at how well captions are handled in automatic speech recognition, but still we don't have metrics that are agreed upon across all of our platforms. So I'm going to propose that maybe it's time that we do create reliable cross-industry metrics for both human-generated and machine-generated captions. Here's a little bit about the word error rate. Today, calculated as substitutions, deletions, and insertions, all added together as forms of errors divided by the number of words. Now, in the weighted word error rate, there's on screen right now, a complex calculation, but basically it adds one extra dimension, and that is the severity of the error. If you drop the word the, or perhaps even misspell a word that's commonly used, they have different levels of severity. And that needs to be taken into account because as we've all experienced in both human-generated steno and voice writing captions, as well as ASR, not all errors are the same, nor should they be weighted the same. So we're proposing that the actual patent that was awarded to WGBH and to Nuance way back in 2014, quality assessment of text derived from an audio signal. You can look it up yourself, patent number 8,892,447, actually proposed a way of automatically deriving a reliable standard for errors and for accuracy. Now, since that time, that's now 7 years ago, there's been many advances on the ability to measure the quality of text derived from an audio signal. So I think it's time we've moved on. The issues that we need to look at, the ones that both humans and automatic speech recognition engines will struggle with, include such challenges as use of speaker ID. Now, some video conferencing platforms can attach the speaker to who the words are being spoken, but you don't see that everywhere online. It's actually kind of rare. However, stenos can do that relatively well. Non-speech information. Some automated systems today can identify noises, music, tone of voice even, but that's not common. And those are the issues that when we start seeing automatic speech recognition rolling out, or perhaps even replacing humans, on any of our platforms, we have to take a good hard look at, can they handle these other challenges? The other major challenge is noisy environments. When someone is talking in a crowded environment or where there's a lot of background noise, that's when the machines begin to fail. And when humans and the human brain and human ears can really discern what the speech is versus the background noise. We're all kind of frustrated. I know I am when someone doesn't use a microphone, like I'm using a very simple one today. And that's when bad audio gets fed into the machine translation. And then that will result in mistranslates or word errors. When someone has a very heavy accent or a speech impairment, machines again are failing today, where a human can discern some of the audio that should be turned into text. Also, as you see a lot online, you'll see it right in Yahoo Finance, where people are talking over on top of each other. Again, automatic speech recognition has a lot of problems discerning that. And certainly as you look at broadcasting, when there are panel discussions, when there are a number of anchors talking over each other, again, humans can handle that. I know the machines eventually will, but not so much today. And then recently we came up with an issue of profanity and censorship. Now, we've always believed in the world that of companies that actually create captions, we shouldn't be censoring audio. If a hearing person can understand the content, then a person who relies on captions should have equal access to that content. Some automatic speech recognitions, which are nervous about using having a profanity slip through when it wasn't actually spoken, will often put on screen, for instance, S asterisk asterisk asterisk, and they will substitute that and probably do too much of a false negative there, because that's not actually what the person said, or the F word, or any other profanity. Well, the speech recognition engine shouldn't be substituting those censorship when hearing people can hear it, or it's not actually being said. And I think that the speech recognition engines can be improved so they don't have to act as a censor for what should be heard. I want to just put an example up on screen right now. A lot of people like to put caption errors up on their screens. They'll share it in social media, particularly the ones that are coming through on ASR these days. And they can be amusing, they can be fun. And my title here says, not just oops, LOL. And in fact, it can be quite insulting. It can be quite damaging. And the example I put on screen right here is a screenshot of a video conference where the speaker's name, Shakuntala Acharya, is rendered as Chuckling Villa by the ASR captioning technology. Now, that's not an equal access, and it's actually quite insulting to the speaker, where the ASR engine simply couldn't understand her name. Now, perhaps it could have been fed in advance during this panel discussion. Certainly, human captioning services really ask for those spellings of names in advance, but ASR technologies do not tend to do that. And I, for one, don't appreciate when someone's name is so badly mangled using a speech recognition engine. So right now, the FCC has asked for comments on reviewing the CVAA, and the deaf community and TDI, among many other organizations, have suggested that it's time to set some metrics. I think we're ready. And the suggestion I'm making today is it's time for a Turing test for closed captioning. Now, a Turing test was developed by a technologist named Alan Turing and defined as a test of a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human. And for closed captioning and for what any caption generation device can create today, I believe that the vice versa, the opposite should apply as well. We should establish a high level playing field for humans and machines alike. And they should both, whichever way the captions are being created by machines, humans, voice writers, should have an equally high level of accuracy that we should meet. And I suggest that the FCC, in fact, should find a way to apply these technologies. Um, and so we together can appreciate and have a much better, higher level of captioning, however they're generated, whether it's by machine, whether it's by human, or whatever next technology is coming along. So with that, I'll turn it over to the panels, who I'm sure will have much to say about this, and welcome you to comment to us at Verizon Media. And by the way, when I said 100% captioning, yeah, we'll miss a few things. So you can write to us at accessibility@verizonmedia.com, comment on what I had to say today, but also comment on our captions, good, bad, or missing. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear from TDI and everyone else who relies on captions to comment back. Tell me what you think about what we said today, what I said today, and what you think about the captions we're providing, as well as what anyone else is providing. And with that, I'll say thank you for inviting me and see you around.
Hey folks, this is Larry live here. I know so many of you have been wanting to see my face, so here it is. Enjoy the lip reading. We only have a couple of minutes before the panels start. They're all going to be really excellent. I was not cloned by the ASR. We recorded that session previously. It's a really important issue you've heard about today. I really think that everyone needs to chime in on this. Christian Vogler from Gallaudet has been doing some deep research into exactly these issues of metrics and how ASR could compare to human captioning. It is a tough science. I think there are many sciences that many technologies that could be applied here. For example, when there's bad audio, ASR really begins to fail. Well, you can filter the audio. You can improve the audio that gets fed into the ASR engine and add those sorts of improvements to improve both ASR and human-generated captioning. I'll leave the logistical questions to our hosts here and answer one of the questions here. How would metrics be implemented? The metrics to be implemented under the present questions at the FCC is it would become a requirement. There are caption accuracy standards that are more guidelines and suggestions that the FCC has issued around latency, accuracy without a specific number, placement, and completeness. So the question really is, would the FCC be ready, willing, and able to apply some specific technical data the way they do with broadcast signals, cable signals, even telephony? So this is one of the issues that we're interested in seeing. I see someone asked, do all broadcast stations use software that can detect incoming live caption text and trigger? No, that's hardly common for broadcast stations to have the ability to alter incoming captions. Mostly that's a pass-through on local stations. That would take quite a bit of extra work. It really is the responsibility of the originator of the captions to make sure they come through and then get passed through. Now, I notice that we have a little issue with the interpreter and captioning, but you have on screen now the panels. There are 3 breakouts. I want to see all of them. And there's one on TV, and the links that you can put in your browser are there, one on web captioning and one on IP CTS. I think I probably should go ahead and let you get to those panels. All of our very good friends and people we work with closely are going to be speaking about the issues on TV captioning, web captioning, and telephony. So with that, I would invite you to get in touch with me through TDI if you want to talk more about this. And I encourage you to feed your comments through TDI or directly to the FCC on this new proceeding on updating the CVAA. And with that, I will turn it back over to the host and say goodbye and hope to see you all in person sometime soon. And let's see how the panel deals with this question. Thanks for inviting me. Take care.